ask you something.
Who in the hell is Gunter? I told you to call me Hunter. Come on.
Oh, right. Hunter, have you seen a little mechanical wandering through here? Might have been wearing my hat.
I can't say I have. I can sell you a new hat if you want. Or some fine, legally obtained hunting supplies. You could go get that mechanical thief yourself.
She's not a thief. She's lost. I just want her back. Oh, hey there, stranger. Don't mean to interrupt your business, but have you seen a stray mechanical wandering about? Oh, that's not good. I hope she hasn't gotten herself into any trouble. Oh, I ain't no hunter. At least not in the traditional sense. Wrenches always suited me better than firearms. A mechanical under my care up and wandered off, that's all. I gotta get her back before anyone notices that either of us are missing. The shopkeep says I should buy one of his rifles and go looking myself. But like my machine, I'm not combat inclined.
We can help her out, right? Won't take too long if we're on the job.
I know it's a pain, but I think I need some outside help. Job or no job, I'm not leaving Betty out in the wastes. Hey, thanks so much. It would have been mighty lonely without her. Being unemployed, I mean. Be lonely being unemployed. If you find Betty, try sneaking up and hacking her. If you can't do that, finding a way to stop her current routines should send her back home.
Welcome to Hunter Legal's Legal Hunter Supplies. I am Hunter Legal. How might I help you today? Unusual. This whole land complex is a failed wildlife exhibition turned hunting reserve. You can't go 10 feet without stepping in unusual. But I reckon you're asking about people unusual. I'd go have a chat with the prophet of profitability. Maybe she can intuit you in the right direction or something. But she is mighty far in the depths of the reserve. Perhaps you should purchase one of my fine armaments for the journey. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. It is a perfectly normal name for a shop dispensing hunter supplies. No, these are supplies for hunters. Hunter supplies. It works either way. It works either way. Boy, damn it. I wish I thought to get that sign switched out when I changed my name. Where better to sell hunter supplies than in the depths of the wilds, surrounded by creatures that are just waiting to devour you. I've got an excuse, but the Prophet and her retreat don't. And they're even farther out. Prophet said I should gift her some rifles to improve my aura or something. I told her what she could do with her aura. Haven't spoken to her since. But you look like you're smart enough to not make the decision that she'll invariably regret.
Pretty good at this.
No cacaos detected nearby. Returning to slug maintenance worker.
Hey, I almost can't believe it. Betty found her way back. Here I was thinking I'd never see her again. Oh, Betty, you big goof. What were you thinking in that little metal noggin of yours? You nearly worried me to death. And you! Ain't you just the most reliable freelancer in the colony? Let me just take a look at Betty here and we'll talk about payment. Yep, that's right. Her parameters for movement and target acquisition are a mess. I'll bring her back to the garage and get her sorted out. Since Betty's back safe and sound, I'll be sure to let my coworkers know that you're a good one. Here's some money for your effort. Least I can do to show my thanks. Oh, I won't be turning my back on Betty again, believe me. Thanks again for all your help. You really saved us both from the edge.
Sorry, but we're a little busy right now. I'm sure one of the other guides would be happy to give you a tour.
Lawrence, do you know who you're talking to? We always have time for the inspector.
The inspector? That's you? I am so sorry. We didn't know what we were doing. We're so sorry. It'll never happen again. Oh, Law. It's all over. I told you someone would catch on sooner or later, Belle.
Lawrence, let me do the talking here. Inspector, pay him no mind. I'm sure you've bigger saltuna to can than us. Don't pay him any mind, Inspector. His upper story's a little gap-toothed, if you know what I mean. But seeing as you insist on sticking your... That is, since you're so curious, I'll fill you in on what we're doing. We, misplaced some people on our last tour. Misplaced them in the maws of some local predators. Now we're stuck here wondering how to get their room keys. Might have been Raptidons. I find it hard to tell them apart, especially when my glasses get fogged up. Hey, we all got our priorities. Not worrying about those keys ain't gonna bring their owners back from the dead. Anyway, the sooner we get those keys back, the sooner we can make it look like the ex-guests checked out early.
Wouldn't you? I mean, the dangers were all listed in fine print on the waivers they signed. Least they can do is not destroy our reputation when they get themselves killed. We knew sooner or later this was gonna happen. We've got some hush money tucked away. If you can get those keys for us, it's all yours.
You kidding? You're welcome to.
Our bosses would want this situation resolved, just like us. We're the real victims here. The dead can't suffer anymore, but we can, and we will if we have to pay for all these lost keys. Did I just hear that right? The inspector is going to help us, Bill! Thank the stars!
We're not out of the woods yet. Let's just see what happens before we celebrate. We last saw the guests deeper in the wilderness, Inspector. That'd be a good place to look.
You got it, Captain! You got him! A nice warm-up. Not even a scratch.
Hey there. You find us those keys? That's all of them. You're a lifesaver and a half, Inspector. Lawrence, you got the bits?
Let's see, which pocket did I... Oh, they're in my hand. Here you are, Inspector. We'll make sure to put in a good word with our friends, too. I can't wait to put this behind us. We'll wait here a little longer, and start clearing out their rooms when the shift changes. Not sure what we'll do with their belongings.
Lawrence, we talked about this, remember? What belongings? Anyhow, thanks again, Inspector. Good luck with your investigation.
Fruitful and productive welcome, sister. I had a feeling you would visit me. I offer a wide variety of productivity seminars. I hope you'll consider taking one. But I should remember my manners. To what do I owe the pleasure of the Special Inspector's arrival? My disciples come to and from the Grand Colonial, bringing supplies and information. Knowing what happens at the hotel affects my livelihood, after all. With that said, I'd love to involve you in one of my productivity seminars. We should clear you of all those nasty, nasty humors hampering your potential. Absolutely not. Any statements by Ms. Helen about us were blown out of proportion and altered by the media. In fact, she quite recently... excuse me. I seem to be remembering something that never happened. Whatever the case, I'm sure her speech about us was all a misunderstanding. We offer a wide variety of seminars for all your corporate needs. Employees not working hard enough? Employees dying too often? It's most likely your managerial humors. And of course, seminars for balancing the energies of your business offices. Interior decorating is much more important for success than many would believe. If any of this sounds at all interesting to you, might I interest you in the first 82 words of our most popular seminar's introduction? Free of charge. Byzantines live lives fraught with competition. And that competition can be immensely stressful. You must, first of all, find a way to balance your thinking. Think not of bits lost, but of those you have yet to gain. After all, peace leads to productivity, and productivity leads to profit. Though thought alone won't balance you. We have a strict regimen to promote humor clearing. Session attendees stand on burning coals, sit for hours in our productivity smokehouse, and of course, fast throughout. Miserable? I'm sorry, sister, but we don't typically allow the use of words like that in the retreat space. We prefer experiencing deferred happiness. Oh? I'm surprised. I wouldn't think the two of us would have much to discuss about her. We may have had some terse interactions before her death, which I most certainly regret. But beyond those, well, never mind. What would you care to know? I wouldn't necessarily say that. The media tends to exaggerate. I will admit that her remarks about my seminars were rather unfortunate. However, I certainly wouldn't sharpen any sabers over it, if that's what you mean to imply. I only do that when my clients skimp on their bills. I did not. She had no interest in my seminars, and I had no interest in attempting to convert a stubborn actress. Why would I have had any cause to engage with her further? Why, I've been at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve for quite some time now, as my disciples can attest. In fact, I haven't visited the Colonials since I arrived several weeks ago. Bad energies, you understand. I hope you now realize that I had nothing to do with Helen's demise. Of course. In order to reach the apex of true productivity, I have learned to be a completely open person. Except about my productivity secrets. Indeed, I am. I spent 10 years wandering around Halcyon, with nothing but a light cruiser and several million of my Byzantine father's bits for comfort. I've been to places I bet you've only heard whispers about. Scylla, Tartarus. I even flew past Monarch. Not close enough to see the gunships, of course, but close. While it may seem strange initially, this bunker offers a controlled, safe environment for attendees to get away from the distractions and amenities of the Grand Colonial. As for why this place is no longer inhabited by Rizos, I couldn't say. But no one's been around to evict us, so I won't complain regarding the rent savings.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis suggests this to be a variety of herbs. Herbs have been uniformly treated with a pungent chemical mix. Warning: ingesting, smoking, or inserting non-corporation sanctioned substances into your ears may be harmful to your health. Side effects from extended exposure include dizziness, nausea, and unconsciousness. Additional likelihood of organ shutdown and/or death. Prior analysis suggests these herbs reach peak effectiveness when users burn them and inhale the resulting smoke. Whether or not this increased effectiveness is good for an afflicted individual has yet to be determined. Analyzing complete. Substance appears to be a mix of industrial solvents and various essential oils. Substances include woolly cow dander remover, sprat oil, and starship surface wax. Hypothesizing potential side effects from herb consumption. Most likely outcome, decapitation. Slight possibility of calculation error.
Hello! Welcome to the Prophet of Profitability's Private Prosperity Retreat. Stay positive, and soon all your humors will be balanced. Least, that's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, I'm Aaliyah Mason. I work as the Prophet's right-hand woman. What can I do for you? If you felt imbalanced and unproductive, linger in your malaise no longer. We have all the amenities and practices for calming the ill humors strangling your potential. Sit for hours in our sweat house and sweat them out. Or stand amidst burning coals and feel your productive inhibitions burn away. And remember, think positive. Positivity equals productivity equals profitability. Of course, I've been studying under her for years. I know each of her techniques more or less by heart, and even have some variations of my own, such as the quintuple daily stomach purges. She's promised me that I'd be allowed to open my own branch of the retreat someday soon. Of course, I've been waiting on someday soon for coming up on 4 years now. I'm sure it's gonna happen anytime now. Oh, terribly sorry if I gave you that impression. I had a cramp. It's better now. I mean, it might be nice if I had a little inclination of whether the Prophet appreciated all the cooking and cleaning and hours of meditation I do on a daily basis. But whatever she thinks isn't for me to question. I'll do my best to be more chipper. Oh my. Yes, this is important enough for me to delay my bi-hourly self-flagellation. Ask away. Yes, the circumstances there are quite unfortunate. For a time, the Prophet was completely despondent. Even the hot coal walks weren't buoying her spirits as they usually do. However, we recently had a high-profile visitor whose presence seemed to alleviate whatever the Prophet's fears were. I'm actually not entirely certain. It was a surreptitious visit that stood out because it was surreptitious. Whoever it was must have paid the Prophet quite a lot to keep things quiet. At least that's the only reason I can think of for intentionally keeping things so hush-hush. Well, by and large, no. But something rather odd did happen regarding the Prophet recently. A few hours after our high-profile visitor arrived a couple of days ago, the Prophet asked me to take over sessions for the remainder of the day. At first, I was excited. Thought it was my chance to show her what I could do in charge. But then I saw that she was deeply worried about something. No one saw her until the next day. I was here at the retreat in the company of the other disciples and clients. I rarely have more than a few minutes of alone time. Which is fine, of course. I do what I do in the service of the Prophet, who will, I'm sure, reward me for my sacrifice. Eventually. Certainly. Actually, before you go, I want to report something suspicious. I noticed the Prophet dragging something, a bundle, away from the retreat after that high-profile guest arrived. Normally, I'm the one who does her laundry, so it was strange. Especially because whatever she was dragging seemed oddly human-shaped. I think so. Had the right size and shape. I could have, but I generally don't have the time or energy to leave the reserve to contact anyone. Plus, there's always the possibility that I'm mistaken. The Prophet hasn't been herself lately, but if I misinterpreted the situation and reported her improperly, I'd ruin my chances for opening my own wing of the retreat.
About time somebody came the hell back. I notice you're not spattered in blood, which doesn't bode particularly well. For you. I hope you're not about to tell me you lost your nerve. You better not mean to tell me you've lost your contract. I swear, if you think I'm just gonna... Wait, I don't recognize your voice. You weren't with the other hunters, were you? Meaning we haven't met. Pardon my tomfoolery, stranger. I see I've mistaken you for someone else. Victoria Foxworth, Rizzo's executive clerical actuator. Pleased to meet you. Might I ask what brings you to the reserve? A professional, I see. I don't know anything about any murder, but you might be just who I'm looking for. There's a particular task that my hunters haven't yet been capable enough to complete. I wonder if you'd have any interest in it. As you may be aware, Slug currently owns the reserve, but it rightfully belongs to Rizzo's. There's an ex-Rizzo's employee currently in possession of the land grant for the entire complex. Insult to injury from Slug, and evidence that this complex is rightfully ours. This particular individual is up there in years. His mind is failing. Leaving the land grant to him is like leaving it in the trash. I would like you to retrieve it. I would have thought so too, but I sent my scouts out ages ago and none have yet returned. The old man's certainly too senile to be a threat, but it's possible Slug put him under guard. You're not recognizably with Rizzo's. Thus, it shall be easier for you to get close. You mean you don't know the story? This atmospheric complex was first annexed by Rizzo's. We'd planned a lovely wildlife-themed attraction to be built here. Alas. Due to some backhanded and admittedly shrewd legal footwork on Slug's part, Rizzo's ownership of the complex was lost. Now we rent it from Slug. I seek only to have what was stolen returned to us. Solve the situation however you like, so long as you bring me the land grant. The target in question lives out in the woods, exactly where I'm not certain. Best of luck.
What could that have been?
Feels good! Feels fun!
I'm warmed up now.
Be your friend!
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. identifying human footprints leading out into the wilderness. It is unusual for productivity disciples to wander more than a few feet from the camp. Scanning. No. Helen's distinctive shoe size not found. Judging by footprint depressions and shoe size, these prints were either made by the Prophet of Profitability or Adjutant Sophia Akande. Error. Recalibrating. These footprints were made by the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Judging by the shape of this indentation in the dirt, a person of medium height and build laid here for a number of hours. Scanning for other details. Only additional signs of disturbance are a few marks in the dirt. No sign of struggle or evidence of wildlife consumption of body. Suspected likelihood of user correctness, 86%.
I don't know what it is you're looking for, stranger, but I reckon you better get. I've had about enough of you and your ilk coming by with your searching questions and expectant looks. I know you with those void-damned hunters, and I know what you want. Well, you ain't getting it. Like you don't know. That damn group of hunters that keeps coming by and hassling me. Nobody ever visits just because they want to gab with old Cyrus. No, they either want to poach me out of my land or poach me out of my best friend. Ha! No, Kelly ain't no toss bowler, though. I reckon she could put the toughest players to shame. It's good having someone like that around. She ain't the brightest bulb, but... well, can't say I'd have much reason sticking it out in this wilderness without her. Ah, I knew it! You'd quit asking if you know what's good for you. Ha! Think me a blame fool? I know a corporate greaser when I see one. You people only understand one thing. Force. Well, I sure as hell have got force! Carl! Come here!
Captain. Is that Primal trying to talk to us?
Now, what is it you were saying? You kidding? I defected from Rizzo's. I won't be safer. But if Callie will be, well, maybe it's worth the risk. I guess the grant to the land complex is yours, stranger. And I guess our business is complete.
You return. I hope you bring news. Oh, thanks the law. And you brought the land deed. To say you were more capable than the hunters I hired would be a vast understatement. I hope there were no complications. A giant primal? As a guard? Please don't make me laugh. No one tames primals, let alone senile old men. I'm sure there was, sweetie. Rizzo's thanks you for your efforts to allow us to regain what is rightfully ours. Here is your reward.
Welcome back, sister. I'm delighted to extend my desire to aid you, sister. How might I assist? I'm pleased that you noticed. Excellent eye, sister. The compound they're treated with is my own invention, designed to unlock an individual's true productive potential when burned. I can't say any more. Trade secrets, you know. None of my clients have ever complained, so I'm sure they're perfectly safe. Is there anything else? Yes, that's correct. She made it clear that my seminars were of no interest to her. Well, I suppose that does complicate things. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never showed up. I don't see how it matters. Oh, really? What did you find there? What did I dump? Clever work, Inspector. It seems even I can't slide my way out of the trap you've so intricately weaved. I admit it. I killed Helen. By mistake. Helen changed her mind and wanted to attend one of my sessions. I, knowing the importance of the seminar, desired to truly galvanize her, though not to stop her heart. So when it came time, I chose to double Helen's dosage of productivity-enhancing herbs. I left her to meditate, and when I returned, she was dead. After that, I entered a less than coherent state. One of my disciples, it seems, witnessed me as I dragged Helen's body out into the wilderness. Laws, no. I hate guns. If I ever wanted to kill someone on purpose, I would have used a blunt weapon. Nothing quite like clubbing someone over the head. I'm no medical professional, but that certainly seemed the case. Usually my customers at least writhe or mumble after a session. My productivity-enhancing herbs typically do induce sluggishness, but I suppose they must have been enough to do her in if her constitution was truly that weak. Do you jest? The guests at the Colonial eat no shortage of strange things, but I think corpses are perhaps too strange. The creatures of the wilderness are much less picky. Besides, the hotel is ridiculously far. I couldn't have made it all that way without someone realizing I was dragging a corpse. What? Is this some kind of joke? You're an inspector. It's your job to arrest me, isn't it? No. Someone must have moved it after I killed her. One of my business rivals, waiting for me to fall into a false sense of security so they can strike. I don't believe you. I think this is all a trick. You're trying to catch me in a lie. Get me to reveal my productivity secrets. No. You can't trick me. I finally discovered what's happening. You've been paid off. Someone else learned that I killed Helen, and is going to use that information to blackmail me. You think I'm going to let this injustice happen? Ha! Tell the constable that I killed Helen. It's 1,000 times less miserable than whatever my enemies have planned. Yes. One step ahead as always, shadowy corporate figures. You'll never get my secrets. Never.
Inspector. Ms. Leyva earned that title, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The profit business has been profitable for the hotel. Not so much for Ms. Leyva's followers. So, tell me, what did you find? She wants to be arrested. That's not the kind of behavior I expect from a suspect. Perhaps she's carrying a guilty conscience. Does the Prophet strike you as a reasonable candidate for Helen's murderer? Arresting the Prophet could spell the end of her career. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Thank you for the update, Inspector. I'll include everything you've told me in my official report.